Welcome back to the Rabbit Hole Chronicles. I'm Percival Blackwood, and tonight we're venturing into America's most beautiful and deadly places, our national parks. Here's a question that should disturb you. How many people are currently missing in America's national parks? The answer, according to our own government, is we don't know. They literally don't keep track. Since 2011, researcher David Paulides has documented over 1,400 cases of people who've vanished in our wilderness areas under circumstances that defy explanation. Children disappearing in seconds. Experienced hunters vanishing without a trace. Bodies found in previously searched areas. Search dogs refusing to track. And perhaps most disturbing, a National Park Service that seems more interested in hiding these cases than solving them. Tonight we're exploring Missing 411, not just the disappearances, but the system that allows them to continue. By the end of this episode, you'll understand why some believe our national parks harbour secrets darker than any forest shadow. In 2008, David Paulides was a retired police detective researching Bigfoot sightings when an off-duty park ranger pulled him aside with a disturbing confession. People were vanishing in national parks at an alarming rate, the ranger said, and park officials were keeping quiet about it. Paulides, trained to spot patterns from his law enforcement days, started digging. What he found shocked him, not just the number of disappearances, but the official response when he tried to get data. He filed Freedom of Information Act requests asking for a simple list. How many people have gone missing in our national parks? The response? First, silence. Then, stonewalling. Finally, an estimate that it would cost $34,000 to compile such a list. $34,000 for what should be a simple database query. Unless, of course, that database doesn't exist. Here's where our story takes its first dark turn. The United States National Park Service, the agency responsible for 85 million acres of federal land visited by over 300 million people annually, does not maintain a centralized database of missing persons. Let that sink in. We track every endangered butterfly, every historical artifact, every geological formation in our parks. But missing humans, no comprehensive records. When Paulides confronted then Secretary of the Interior Ken Salazar about this in 2016, asking how many people were missing in the parks, Salazar's response on camera was telling, "I don't recall." The head of the department overseeing all national parks couldn't, or wouldn't, say how many visitors had vanished. This isn't incompetence, this is design. Because if you don't track something, you can't be held accountable for it. If there's no database, there's no pattern. No pattern, no problem. No problem, no panic. No panic. No drop in those precious tourism dollars. But Paulides kept digging, spending over 7,000 hours piecing together what the government wouldn't. He found 1,400 plus cases that shared disturbing similarities. Cases the Park Service knew about but never connected. Or did they? After years of research, Paulides identified clusters, 59 geographic hotspots where people repeatedly vanish under similar circumstances. Yosemite, Crater Lake, Rocky Mountain National Park, the Great Smoky Mountains. These aren't random distributions. They're concentrated kill zones, disappearance zones. But it's not just where people vanish, it's how. Paulides documented patterns that once you see them, you can't unsee. The point of separation. Victims typically vanish the moment they're alone. They step behind a tree, lag behind the group for seconds, walk just out of sight, and they're gone. Forever. It's as if something waits for that precise moment of isolation. The dog failure. Search and rescue dogs, trained to follow human scent for miles, suddenly can't track. They'll follow a trail for a few yards, then lie down or circle, as if the person's scent simply ended mid-air. These are dogs that can track week-old trails through water, but in missing 411 cases, nothing. The weather window? Within hours of a disappearance, severe weather often rolls in. Storms that wash away tracks, fog that grounds helicopters, snow that buries evidence. Every single time. Either Mother Nature has a sick sense of timing, or something else is at play. The clothing paradox. When bodies are found, if they're found, clothing is often missing or arranged strangely. Shoes placed neatly by a log, pants found inside out. In freezing conditions, victims found partially undressed. The Park Service will tell you this is paradoxical undressing from hypothermia. They won't explain the neatly folded clothes. The impossible distances. Children as young as 2 found miles away, across terrain that would challenge experienced hikers. Bodies discovered at elevations thousands of feet above where they vanished. One toddler supposedly travelled 12 miles in 19 hours through wilderness, alone. Really? The return to searched areas. Perhaps most unsettling. Bodies appearing in areas already thoroughly searched. Search teams will comb every inch of a grid, find nothing, then days later a body appears in the middle of that grid. As one search coordinator said, it was like the victim dropped from the sky. Let me share some cases that keep investigators awake at night. Dennis Martin, age 6, June 14th, 1969. Great Smoky Mountains. Playing hide and seek with his family, Dennis ducked behind a bush. His father counted to 10, turned around, and Dennis was gone. 1,400 searchers, the largest manhunt in park history. They found nothing, but here's what they don't advertise. Another family 5 miles away heard a bone-chilling scream that afternoon. They saw a dishevelled man running through the woods, carrying what looked like a child. The FBI investigated. The lead went nowhere. Officially. 3 days later, heavy rain destroyed any remaining evidence. How convenient. Jared Atadero, age 3. October 2nd, 1999. Colorado Rockies. The boy ran ahead on a trail with a Christian youth group. Witnesses heard him scream playfully. Then silence. 4 years later, his clothes were found 11 miles away and 2,500 feet higher up the mountain. His pants were inside out. One shoe looked brand new, despite 4 Colorado winters. Investigators found his skull cap with what appeared to be mountain lion teeth marks. Case closed, right? Except mountain lions don't typically carry their prey 11 miles uphill. They don't turn pants inside out. And they certainly don't preserve shoes in pristine condition. Tom Messick, age 82. November 15, 2015. Adirondack Mountains. An experienced hunter with limited mobility sat down to watch for deer while his group conducted a drive hunt. An hour later, he was gone. Not just gone, erased. 300 searches. 29 square miles covered. 2 months of searching. They found nothing. Not his rifle, not his bright orange vest, not a footprint. An 82-year-old man with one eye and hearing problems doesn't just vanish. Unless someone, or something, takes him. Stacey Arras, age 14. July 17th, 1981. Yosemite Wilderness. On a guided horseback trip, she walked 50 yards to photograph a lake. She never came back. All they found was her camera lens cap. Not her camera. Not her hiking gear. Just a lens cap, like a calling card. The area she vanished from, a small alpine meadow surrounded by bare granite. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to fall, nowhere to go. Yet she went somewhere. Here's what makes these cases even more disturbing. The victims often share specific characteristics. Young children, especially ages 2 to 6, or older adults, 75 plus. People with slight disabilities or medical conditions. Individuals wearing bright colours, especially red. Those of German or Native American descent, statistically overrepresented. Experienced outdoorsmen who should have known better. It's as if something selects for vulnerability, or perhaps for certain genetic markers. The Park Service says these are coincidences, but when coincidences pile up, they stop being coincidental. How has the government responded to Paulides' work? With a playbook that should look familiar by now. Step 1. Deny. There's no unusual pattern of disappearances. Step 2. Deflect. These are just normal wilderness accidents. Step 3. Obstruct. That information will cost $34,000 to compile. Step 4. Minimize. Statistically, parks are very safe. They're right about that last point. Millions visit parks safely, but that's like saying air travel is safe while ignoring that some planes vanish into thin air. The question isn't about overall statistics, it's about the cases that don't fit any explanation. Park officials have privately expressed frustration with Paulides' work. Internal emails obtained through FOIA show administrators worried about public panic and decreased visitation. One ranger was allegedly told to stop cooperating with Paulides' research. Meanwhile, families of the missing report feeling abandoned by the Park Service. Searches called off too soon. Updates that never come. A bureaucratic shrug that says, people disappear. It happens. But does it have to happen this much? This strangely? With this little accountability? So what's taking people? Theories range from the prosaic to the paranormal, the mundane, animals, accidents, hypothermia, getting lost. This explains many cases, but not all. Not the impossible distances, not the missing clothing, not the bodies in searched areas. Serial killers. Could predators use parks as hunting grounds? Possible, but the victim selection is too random. The geographic spread too wide. No single killer could account for all these patterns. Feral humans. A popular online theory suggests wild people live in park caves, emerging to snatch hikers. Terrifying but unlikely. No evidence of such populations exists despite extensive cave mapping. Bigfoot. Given Paulides' background, many suspect Sasquatch, the strength to carry victims long distances, the ability to avoid detection, the intelligence to select vulnerable targets. But where are the bodies, the tracks, the DNA, government operations, black sites, secret experiments, witness elimination? The clusters near military installations fuel this theory, but it doesn't explain the historical cases going back decades. Dimensional portals. Some areas as thin spots between realities. Victims accidentally stepping through. It would explain the sudden disappearances, the lack of evidence, but it explains too much with too little proof. UFOs, aliens, high strangeness, cases with lights in the sky, people found in impossible locations, missing time. Paulides himself has started leaning this direction into recent work. In 2020, someone noticed something chilling. When you overlay the missing 411 cluster map with maps of America's cave systems, They align with disturbing precision. The areas with the most disappearances sit atop vast underground networks. Officially, this is coincidence. Cave systems form in limestone, parks protect unique geology, hence the overlap. But what if the caves hide something? Transportation networks, predator lairs, entrances to somewhere else. The Park Service maintains they've mapped all significant caves, but spelunkers know better. New passages are discovered yearly. Some caves breathe, airflows suggesting vast unmapped spaces. What lives in the darkness we haven't explored? Long before Missing 411, Native American tribes had legends about these places. The Ahwanichi people warned of evil spirits in what's now Yosemite. The Cherokee spoke of the Nunahi, beings who could make people vanish. Nearly every tribe had taboo areas where people shouldn't go alone. Were these primitive superstitions? Or ancestral wisdom about places where our reality wears thin? Places where things hunt what shouldn't be hunted? Us. The government established many parks on these sacred, forbidden lands. They marketed them as pristine wilderness, perfect for recreation. They never mentioned the old warnings, never posted the tribal maps showing where not to go. Those might hurt tourism. Here's a detail that should disturb anyone planning a park visit. In many Missing 411 cases, technology fails at crucial moments. GPS units malfunction. Phones lose signal in areas with supposed coverage. Emergency beacons don't activate. In 2018, a hiker in Yosemite documented his phone's GPS showing him in completely wrong locations, miles from where he stood. He uploaded the video before disappearing 2 days later. His body was found where his GPS said he'd been, not where he'd actually been filming. Park officials blamed technical glitches. But what causes selective technical glitches that precede disappearances? While most Missing 411 cases end tragically or without resolution, a few young children have been found alive. Their stories are unsettling. A 3-year-old in Montana, missing for 2 days, found safe. She told rescuers a fuzzy bear had taken care of her. No bear signs were found. A 4-year-old in North Carolina, gone for 3 days in freezing rain, found warm and dry. He said a friend in the woods kept him safe. He couldn't describe the friend. A 6-year-old in Michigan vanished for 4 days, found 11 miles away, claims he was in a white place and couldn't see the searchers, though they passed within feet of where he was eventually found. Children's imaginations, trauma responses, or glimpses of where the missing go, and what takes them there. Adult survivors of mysterious disappearances share a troubling trait: memory loss. Those found alive often can't explain what happened, where they went, how they survived. It's as if their experiences have been edited. One hunter in Montana vanished for 6 days, found 50 miles away with no memory of travelling. His last clear memory? Feeling watched, then everything went white. A woman in Colorado disappeared for 48 hours, found unharmed but confused. She insisted only an hour had passed. Her watch had stopped at the moment she vanished. Trauma? Hypothermia? Or something else affecting memory and time perception? If something unusual is happening in our parks, why hide it? Consider the possibilities. Economic. The outdoor recreation economy generates $887 billion annually. If people feared parks, the economic impact would be devastating. Liability. Acknowledging a pattern means responsibility to address it. Can't be sued for dangers you don't admit exist. Panic prevention. Maybe they know what's happening but can't stop it. Better to let a few vanish than panic millions. National security. What if the truth is worse than our wildest theories? What if they're protecting us from knowledge that would fundamentally break our understanding of reality? Or maybe it's simpler. Maybe bureaucracy and indifference created a system where no one's responsible for connecting the dots, where it's easier to call each case an isolated tragedy than admit something systemic is wrong. Here's what should really concern you. The disappearances are accelerating. Paulides documents more cases each year. Social media spreads awareness, yet people keep vanishing in the same patterns, from the same places. It's as if whatever takes people has grown bolder, or hungrier, or more desperate. In 2023 alone, Yosemite reported 16 unexplained disappearances. The Park Service called it a statistical anomaly. They promised increased safety measures. They delivered new trail signs. Signs won't stop what's taking people. Our national parks are sold as sanctuaries, places to reconnect with nature, to find peace, to discover ourselves. But what if we're not the only ones doing the discovering? The missing 411 phenomenon reveals a truth the government desperately wants hidden. We are not alone in the wilderness. Something shares these spaces with us. Something that watches, selects, takes. And our protectors, the agencies we trust with our safety, are either powerless to stop it or complicit in hiding it. David Paulides didn't set out to terrify America. He just wanted to document missing persons cases. But in doing so, he uncovered a pattern that suggests our reality has cracks. And in those cracks, people disappear. The next time you visit a national park, remember, you're entering a place where the rules are different, where technology fails, where distances bend, where time stutters, where people vanish, and searchers find nothing but impossible questions. Stay on marked trails. Don't separate from your group. Watch for sudden weather changes, and if you feel eyes on you in the forest, trust that ancient instinct. Because in missing 411 cases, the moment you're alone is the moment you're gone. Until then, I'm Percival Blackwood for the Rabbit Hole Chronicles, reminding you that sometimes the most dangerous mysteries are hiding in plain sight, on maps marked, "Here be dragons," or in this case, "Here be national parks." The Rabbit Hole Chronicles is an independent production. We encourage safe exploration of our natural spaces while acknowledging that some mysteries remain unsolved.